What's up, everybody? On my beginner routine video, I got a lot of comments asking for a detailed pull-up tutorial, and I totally agree that pull-ups are one of the most difficult and challenging basic body weight exercises to learn. So in this video, I'm going to show you proper scapular movement for pull-ups, along with the equipment you need to learn them at home, and all the progressions you could possibly use to go from absolute beginner to doing pull-ups. One quick thing I want to mention before we get started is if you're carrying a lot of extra weight on you in the form of body fat, that's going to work against you in terms of learning the pull-up. And the reason why, and this applies to all body weight exercise, the more weight you have, the harder that exercise is going to be. This is no different than weightlifting, right? You don't teach someone bench press or deadlift with a lot of weight on the bar, right? Whenever someone learns a weightlifting exercise, they start off with only the bar and they gradually add weight to the bar as they get better at it. So the same concept applies to body weight exercise, and what I recommend doing is, if you're not already, start getting active every single day. If that means just going for a walk every morning or possibly a jog, that would be hugely beneficial for helping you lose the extra weight over time. In addition, try using an app like Chronometer to make sure you're eating in a slight caloric deficit every day. It's super easy to use and free to sign up, so if you're interested in checking out Chronometer, I'll put a link to where you can sign up down below.
Alright, so let's start talking about learning pull-ups, and the first topic is going to be proper scapular movement. The first couple progressions I recommend are horizontal pulling exercises. So what that means is your arms are straight out, perpendicular to your torso, and you're pulling your arms and shoulders straight back. The way you accomplish this movement is actually by squeezing your shoulder blades together. And this is a type of movement called scapular retraction that you're going to hear me say a lot in this video. So I encourage you to practice this movement without any resistance like I'm doing right here, and as you perform it, make sure you focus on using the trapezius and rhomboids shown here in the upper back around the shoulder blades to perform the movement. Once you've built strength doing scapular retraction, we're then going to focus on this movement, which is called scapular depression. This movement is when you depress your scapula, or in other words, you pull your shoulders down away from your ears. Scapular depression is used in any vertical pulling exercises like pull-ups, and what you're going to feel is that this movement is initiated and primarily done by the latissimus dorsi, which is what the arrow is pointing to in the side of my back. So as you practice this movement, make sure you focus on firing the lats, and make sure you are retracting and depressing your scapula, meaning your shoulder blades squeeze together and move downwards, all while bending at the elbows and pulling your arms down. Next, let's take a look at the equipment you're going to need to learn pull-ups at home. First, I recommend a good set of dip bars, but not for dips. I actually will be showing you how to get underneath them and perform body weight rows, a great horizontal pulling exercise to start with. Then, of course, you'll need a pull-up bar, and I actually recommend doorway pull-up bars because they are very affordable, and as long as you have standard door frames, then they're very sturdy and reliable. And lastly, some fitness bands are great for adding assistance to your pull-ups when you're learning. And I'll put links to all of this equipment in the description below this video. Now let's dive into the progressions I recommend for pull-ups, and we'll start with bent leg bodyweight rows. Lie beneath your dip station holding onto the bars, and then lift your hips off the floor so your body is straight. When you pull yourself up, you're going to be retracting your scapula like we talked about before. This means you're going to be pulling your shoulder blades together, and you're going to do that with the muscles around your shoulder blades and by bending at the elbows. By doing this exercise with your feet on the floor and your legs bent at the knees, you're minimizing the resistance, making it the ideal beginner pulling exercise. Once you can do 10 reps in a set, it's time to do straight leg bodyweight rows. This is essentially the same exercise, but instead of bending at the knees, you're going to keep your legs straight. This will increase the resistance so you continue building strength in your horizontal pulling movements. In other words, it'll make your scapular retraction even stronger. So work on building these up to at least 10 reps in a set before moving on. And when you move on, you're going to start doing active hangs. This means you'll start working on your vertical pulling muscles by hanging from your bar. If using a doorway pull-up bar, make sure it's securely hung on the door frame, and then hang from it, and lift your feet off the floor. But this isn't any old sloppy hang, alright? First I want to show you what not to do. See how my ears are really close to my shoulders? That means my hang is not active, or in other words, I'm not activating my scapula properly. Instead, you want to engage your parascapular muscles by retracting and depressing your shoulder blades like we talked about before. This will create a space between your ears and shoulders as the arrow is identifying right now, and this is an active hang because it means that your parascapular muscles are properly activated. You'll need to really engage the lats on the side of your back to depress your scapula, so take your time with this one and build it up to at least 10-second hangs before moving on. Now at the same time you're doing these hangs, I also want you to start doing flexed arm hangs. To do these, you'll need a step stool of some sort to get up above your bar, and I'm using a parallette here in front of my doorway pull-up bar. But you can use a chair or step stool or whatever you want. So step on the object, get your chin over the bar, and then step off and hang with bent or flexed arms. Eventually you'll be shaking and quivering like I'm doing here, and you'll just have to give out, and that's the end of your set. If you want, perform these with a supine grip as well, which means palms facing you, and build these up to at least 10-second holds. And as you'll see in the next step, you're going to connect these two hangs by doing pull-up negatives. The negative or eccentric phase of an exercise is the downward part of it, and that's what we're going to focus on here. So step on your chair or step stool to get your chin over the bar, get into a flexed arm hang, and then slowly lower your body down until your feet touch the floor. That is one rep or one negative. Then immediately step back up onto your chair or step stool, get into a flexed arm hang, and then do another negative. You're going to repeat these over and over until you can do 5 slow negatives, alright? That's your target, at least 5 slow reps per set for this exercise. And the reason why I highly recommend focusing on negatives, this should be one of your main progressions that you spend the most time on, is because the negative or eccentric part of an exercise, like the downward phase, is where you're tearing your muscle fibers to repair them later stronger than before. And one other thing you can focus on as you advance at negatives is also controlling your core and legs during this movement. So instead of tucking, you can have straight legs out in front of you as you lower. This is more advanced and it's not necessary for achieving the pull-up, but I wanted to point this out that when you start branching out into, say, front lever work or L-sit pull-ups, then negatives like this with your legs straight really help. Okay, last progression is assisted pull-ups. And when I say assisted, I mean you're finally going to use those fitness bands I talked about earlier in this video. So choose one of the fitness bands that has the thickness you think you need for your current strength level, wrap it around your pull-up bar, and then loop it through itself and pull it taut. If you need to, center it on the bar so that you're pulling directly on the center of your pull-up bar, and then step one foot into it, push down, and then step your other foot on it as well, so that you can perform full pull-ups with the fitness band providing assistance. Build these up to 10 reps with your lightest fitness band, and then finally, you will be ready for what you've been working so hard for, legit pull-ups. So you're going to hang from your bar in an active hang with your feet off the floor, retract and depress your scapula with your newfound strength from all those progressions you've been working on. And in the beginning, you'll probably only get one rep, alright? And it'll be one really difficult pull-up rep. But keep at it, alright? Just do that one rep, rest, do another rep. And from workout to workout, you will build strength. And before you know it, you'll be doing multiple reps of pull-ups. And one more thing I want to emphasize, guys, is that make sure when you do a pull-up, really concentrate on retracting and depressing that scapula, okay? The scapular movement is most important in a pull-up. And don't forget to try other grips too, like here I'm doing supine or chin-up grip, which is where your palms are facing you. And you might find that grip to be easier. A lot of people find supine to be easier than pronated. Just experiment with the different grips. And there's really no wrong or right grip. Just try them all, advance at all of them, and have fun. And here's a quick little bonus for you. Once you can do pull-ups, return to your dip bars and get beneath them like you're going to do body weight rows. but instead tuck up into this position called a tucked front lever and hold that for as long as you can. Alright, the tucked front lever is great for building up your horizontal pulling strength, and you could eventually advance this to tucked front lever pull-ups, which is a huge challenge but really great for building parascapular strength. So everything I taught you in this video is everything you'll need to know to learn pull-ups. At this point, all you need to do is take the steps I've shown you and put them into practice. And remember to be patient because it takes time. And once you get pull-ups and you're wondering where to go from here, well, now you're beyond beginner. And you should subscribe to my channel so I can teach you where to take it from there, how to advance into intermediate, and which cool skills to learn next. Thank you so much for watching this video, and if it was helpful, please give it a like and share it because that really helps me out. Alright? I will talk to you next time.